What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, talking today about Xbox's newly announced program called Xbox All Access, which seems to be some way to try and make Microsoft's console a little bit more inviting to newcomers, both young and old. And I think that in many aspects, this could be something that really helps try and bolster the amount of people who have their system, and maybe helps, well, sort of save it in the long run. Before we get into that, though, I do want to make just a serious note here at the beginning and say that I want to dedicate this video to the people who unfortunately lost their lives at the Madden tournament in Florida. I don't want to get into the details because honestly it's just so horrific, and instead of talking about the people who did this, I just want to show a single picture of this. This is one of the survivors with all of his competitors just posing in a hospital room because these dudes were brought together by gaming. It's not about the bad times, it's about the good times. These dudes are heroes even if all they did is survive. Okay, moving past the bad news, let's just talk about, well, this whole situation with Xbox All Access, because I do find it all very intriguing. So it seems like, in many ways, Microsoft wants this to try and be something that's never quite been done before in exactly this format. It seems like, due to the messaging they're conveying, they want us to think of this as a free Xbox program, much in the way of when you get a cell phone. So basically, a lot of times you sign up for a several-year contract and they give you the cell phone for free. But that's not exactly true. Instead, what it's more like is you're paying it off by paying hundreds of dollars a month just to have it. The thing itself may be free, but only because it'd be absolutely useless without all the money you're paying just to keep the thing on. And that's sort of the way that the Xbox All Access program is working. So essentially, what you get is several things all packaged together, and you can't really break it off. So basically, you will be paying $22 every single month for an Xbox One S, Xbox Live, and Xbox Game Pass. It is all packaged together, and you have to pay for it for 2 years. Now, I think that this is, in general, a decent price. It's not like they really jacked it up. When I first heard rumors about this a while ago, I was very nervous about the idea that they would be charging exuberant interest. I know that some people are too young to remember this now, but way back in the day, when Dell first started trying to burst out of the scene, something they would do is basically mail you the PC right out of the gate, a pre-built PC, and then you'd be paying it off for years, to the point at which some people were paying $800 for a $300 PC, but it also sort of worked out because now Dell is so giant they bought Alienware. It was their way of trying to basically make it where it's like, okay, you are going to be paying now for something that you will own later. And I still don't, I guess the reason I don't like this is because I grew up extremely poor, like so gruelingly broke, sometimes I would eat $10 of food in 2 weeks. I would literally buy a bunch of tortillas and a bunch of beans, and I would just eat beans and tortillas 3 meals a day for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I didn't even notice how poor I was. I thought everybody was this broke. And I feel like Microsoft sort of seems to be targeting that audience. There are people who are able to get together $25 of spare money every single month, but will never be able to put enough of that in a piggy bank to eventually buy an Xbox One straight up in cash. For the people who have a little bit more play money, they've also introduced a second tier of this program where you'll get an Xbox One X for $35 a month. Both of these, I guess, are a good deal. I want to say that up front, which is I think that these are not at all a ripoff. So I basically broke down what I think the prices are, and basically you would be paying $50 a month for Xbox Live. Or sorry, $50 a year for Xbox Live. So that's going to be $100 of the price right there. And then if you're doing Xbox Game Pass is $10 a month. So times that by 2 years, that right there is going to be $240. Plus the console, so you're either going to be paying about $250 to $300 for the Xbox One S, or $500 for the Xbox One X. charging people a grand total of, basically, if you calculate all the cost for 2 years, the Xbox One S bundle comes out to $528. And in total, if you calculate out the month-to-month payments without any tax or anything, since we don't really know how that's going to come out, the Xbox One X bundle comes out to $840. But if you actually look at it just on paper, they're not really charging you any extra fees. They're not really being jerks the way that some stuff like cable companies used to do back in the day, which is their way of trying to basically be like, all right, we're selling you the box by making it where you have to continue paying on it for years and years and years. I guess that the main reason that I think that this is a good idea is I feel like that Xbox and Microsoft in general is kind of in a weird space right now, which is a lot of people are still constantly saying the words, "It ain't got no games. There are 0 Xbox exclusives." When that's not true. Let's just be honest on paper. There are a lot more PlayStation exclusives and Nintendo Switch exclusives than there are Xbox One exclusives. But they still exist. It's not like they're just some mystical fairyland thing that people make up. There are a lot of good indie games, cool backwards compatibility stuff, and even new giant projects that are coming out first party by Microsoft on the Xbox One that are stupendous. And I feel like the Xbox All Access program is kind of I think a big reason behind this is that they're trying to make it where people are going to be forced to acknowledge their great library. I think it's going to make it where people who are lower income or dirt broke or very, very young and just don't have a giant amount of income are going to buy this to try and play something probably like Call of Duty with their friends or Madden. But in the by having Xbox Game Pass, they're going to have access to hundreds of games just naturally. So they're going to start to install them and explore them and see this big, giant, unfortunately undiscovered catalog. It'll actually make them, as a person who's dead broke, a giant new fan of the Xbox. I also still have, this is my own little conspiracy theory, but I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing the Xbox 2 very, very soon. Like in the next 6 months, I think that Microsoft is going to come out on stage and do a giant reveal showing that the Xbox 2 is real, finished, and probably coming in late 2019. But to make it where people aren't so shocked or mad that they're already just rushing into the next console generation, I think they're going to have a big trade-in program where people are going to be able to take their existing Xbox Ones and take them to like a store and automatically get some sort of refund. I think that that's definitely going to happen to make it where people who are kind of on the fence of jumping into the next generation will now have this thing that'll make it where it's not so expensive. You're not going from a $300 console you just bought to a $500 console you need to buy to try the next generation. I think that Microsoft is going to try and make it where instead, if you bring in your Xbox One, you'll get it for $200 or $300. And people with the Xbox All Access program are probably going to have some sort of incentive where you're actually able to bring back your Xbox One, extend your contract so you're paying for it an extra year at the end, and they give you an Xbox 2 day one. All of this seems like something that Microsoft would absolutely love to try, because at this point, Microsoft is definitely in a dangerous spot in my opinion, which is that Xbox One sales are not terrible, but they're just not keeping up with anybody at this point. If you are in third place of a 3-person war, things aren't looking good. They definitely are trying to position themselves to take over in the next console generation. The next cycle needs to be one where they can expand and establish themselves. And Xbox All Access, if done exactly right, could be a huge power play for the better. But I do think that it really comes down to, more than anything, Microsoft managing to brand this correctly. On paper, this is fantastic. But if you don't manage to get your messaging clear, your commercials fun and hyped, and some new exclusives to try and incentivize people to jump on board of this, you're still going to have people just staring at it going, what is the point? But this has just been Dreamcast Guy with a random gaming rant. What do you think about this? Are you somebody who's even mildly interested in Xbox All Access? Do you only own a Nintendo Switch or a PlayStation 4 and you're toying with the idea of possibly getting it since it would only be $22 a month to finally have all three systems? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Alright, I gotta get back to playing Monster Hunter. I gotta do a giant video. Let's do this. Oh, hi. I'm just working on the next video. If you want to see what it is, go ahead and click this button and you can subscribe. Also, if you click these video links, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. Now I'm just going to sit here for a minute and wait for you to subscribe. Oh, I guess I could put on these giant glasses. I literally found these on a roller coaster.